Good morning, everybody. I want to welcome you to Pulaski County Fiscal Court. As is customary, we like to open up our court meetings with the Pledge of Allegiance. And this morning, I've asked Ms. Becky Childers if she would be so kind as to lead us. So if everybody would please stand then.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, we'll go ahead and call this meeting to order. And then the first item on the agenda then will be approval of the minutes from our previous meeting. You've all received a copy of those.
Motion.
Got a motion to accept those as presented?
Second.
In a second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. All right, and I've got a non-agenda item I want to take care of today. We weren't 100% sure that she would be here, but I've got somebody I'd like to present a special award to. We've got a member of our community that's just very active in many local charitable and just good causes that gives herself tirelessly to making other people's lives brighter and just making Pulaski County a better place. And today I want to confer upon one of our good friends, one of our highest honors, or our highest honor is the Pulaski County Colonel. I'd like to invite Miss Betty Cook. If you'd come up here, we'd like to bestow upon you this honor. We love you, Betty, and we just think what you do, we appreciate. We wish we had a few more like you.
You surprised, Betty? I can tell.
Look over here.
I can tell.
So thank you for all you do, Betty. We appreciate
Congratulations.
it. Okay. All right, the next item on the agenda will be old business. And we have a few items of old business. We have, first of all, we have the second reading of our fiscal year 17 and 18 budget. You all had a copy of the budget and had time to review that. Do you have any questions on that, or we'll entertain a motion to accept it?
I had one question, Steve. The one salary that we left out before, the Economic Development Director salary or whatever, did that go back in? Are we going to do it later, or what's going on?
It would
with
have to
that?
be a budget amendment. We didn't provide anything for that.
Okay.
If we do that.
Make a motion to accept.
Have a motion and a second. Have any further discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Okay. Motion carries. Thank you. And we have acceptance of the fiscal year 17-18 salt bid, which is what we do every year. We do the online bid, and we've got the bid this year for road salt is $73.90 a ton.
Who's it through? What company? You need to put the company.
Morton Salt, I'm sorry.
Morton? Only the very best.
Reverse auction that we
That was
did
the reverse
online,
auction
correct?
bid.
Table salt. Motion.
We have a motion to accept that and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Let's see. Don't see Johnny Kane yet, so I guess we'll skip the electronic fuel monitoring system till he's got that ready. Next item then will be our new business. We've got a first reading of our personnel policy. You've got a copy of that. So we'll just need to accept the first reading, and then we'll have a second reading at a later date, I guess, before the end of the fiscal year.
Motion. Yeah, I think the change has been highlighted in yellow.
Yeah, and there's another page in there that.
I've got a motion
Second.
and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Okay. We're going to table the next one as well for the next meeting. We are, just so you know, the Economic Development Authority, just want to let you know that we are, I am and others are meeting together. Martin is, we're meeting with the mayor and the city attorney in our Development Board, trying to find a solution that will take us where we want to go with economic development without completely upsetting what's there. So we're working towards a solution, and as long as we're talking and working, I say let's give this a chance, and we'll table this until we need to address it later. So,
Need a motion to table it?
no, I don't think so. No, just don't bring it up as a item.
So none of this money can be spent or anything done with it at this point, is that correct?
800,000?
Yes.
Yes, under the terms of the agreement that was previously signed, the interlocal agreement, the expenditure of the money has to be agreed upon by the city and you guys.
Okay.
So, until that's done, it can't be spent by either entity individually.
Okay, so if the Industrial Foundation needs $200,000 to come and buy a piece of equipment or something, they can come to us
And
and
ask.
to the city council and ask for it, is that correct?
My understanding is they would come to us because it's in our budget. I don't know, I may
think
have read
that's
that.
still part of the discussion process, exactly how that would unfold.
Anyway,
But
we
the
are,
money's there, and it will, under that terms, that agreement.
Who all is in on this discussion?
right now, it's myself, the mayor, Martin, Kerry, Weiss.
Okay.
Mike Knopfsinger.
Mike Knopfsker is the
President of the
incoming
board?
president. You
Yeah.
got Mike Hale, and Martin Shearer have been
Just
involved in these
just
talks.
a little update when you get a chance or whatever, okay?
Well, and that's one of the things that I have, in any discussions I've had with people at this point, in my role, has been for fiscal court.
Absolutely,
to
you're a
be more
man.
transparent for fiscal court.
Sure.
So
Sure.
that's one of my goals in all
Yeah.
this.
And
I think that'll be fine.
And I think our goal overall is just economic prosperity for the county, and that includes jobs, that includes tourism, that includes community development, workforce development, all those things. So our goal is a greater economic development presence, but we're making progress in our discussions, so as long as there's progress being made, I think we're fine to wait a little bit. So I'll report back when we have more. Next item on the agenda then will be a request to apply for the Kentucky Cattlemen's Foundation grant. Leslie, do you have information on that? Want to come to the podium?
Sorry, Ross.
Adam came up to me, and what he'd like to use this grant for is to, there's an area near the lower kennels, and he wants to partition that off and make it an animal care area to hopefully make that a surgical suite maybe next year for the animals. And this grant would help us to start the process of getting it ready for that.
How much is the grant, Leslie?
It just depends what we get approved for.
Okay. We don't ask for a
Yeah,
certain.
I'm asking for 3,000.
Okay.
But it just depends on what we receive.
Okay.
Next motion.
Second.
Motion second, and to apply for Kentucky Cattlemen's grant. Any further discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. And then also we have, want to get permission to apply for the NRPA/Disney Play Spaces grant, and if you'd like to talk about that.
The ad made us aware of this grant opportunity last week, and what it is for park projects for rural and underserviced areas like inner city projects. It would, since our park is becoming such a hub for tourism, this would be one way for us to maybe get the splash pad at the park, or mini golf, or what, that sort of thing is what I was going to ask for in this grant.
Motion to apply.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Any opposed?
Thank you.
Motion carries.
Can we get a grant for air conditioning?
Really?
I tried to turn it down. We turned it down, it just takes a little time. We should have turned it down early this morning. Okay, next item then on the agenda will be our department reports. We got our sheriff with us today. You have anything for us today? Jailer?
Let me pull it up here. The reason I'm here this morning, I noticed that one of our vendors has been reaching out to us they had not received the payment on the invoice that they had sent us for their equipment. And I think now it's been over 2 months overdue, so I was trying to check to see what the fiscal court was holding back on paying that bill.
I'll tell you kind of where we are. There was dispute of whether or not that was approved and whether we should pay it. And, you know, there's been no agreement on that so far, so that's why I think it's been held out. I talked to Martin, and I guess in your opinion, you
Well, I think the guidance here is found in KRS 441-225, and that concerns expenditures from jail budgets. And it basically requires an analysis of whether or not any purchases are included, can be plugged in under a line item in the jail budget, because the jail budget is a line item budget. So whether or not any purchase made by the jail could be plugged in under one of those line items. And then, since the county in its administrative code has a PO, purchase order procedure, policy and procedure, if that was complied with, which I understand it was in this particular case, then by statute, and I'll just read it to you, the fiscal court shall not withhold approval of the payment for jail expenditures which are within the jail budget and not unlawful. So I think if this purchase can be plugged into one of the line item budget items of the jail budget, then from what I understand, what was purchased is certainly not unlawful. So that's the question. And
so does that fall underneath one of our line items in the budget? Does that?
Yes.
It has been transferred.
What'd you say?
The money was in one of the transfers that the jail
It was
has
transferred
done.
that day
It
before-
was transferred.
Before they gave us the PO, they said the money was not in that line item. So we transferred the money from one item to the other item to make sure it was in that line item. The purchase order was issued. And once the purchase order is issued, then we made the order. And we don't make any orders without the purchase order. We know better than do that. So the purchase order is issued, the money was there, and now the bill's being refused to be paid.
We are talking about these guns that everybody's packing around, is that right?
Correct.
by statute, it looks like, from my knowledge of what the facts are, the statutory procedures were followed, as well as the county administrative procedures. So I think my opinion is, under this statute, it is a proper bill that the court should authorize payment of.
So, I may be not hearing this right, but it sounds like to me that he can go out and buy anything he wants and plug it in somewhere, and we're responsible to pay for it?
If it fits within a line item of his budget and the court and the county's purchase order procedure was followed, unless it's one of those $20,000 or more items that would have to be bid out. Yeah.
How much was this item?
About $4,000.
4 or 7, between 4 and 7, something, 4 and 7.
Is that for the guns
got
and
it here.
ammunition, or is that all of it together?
There were two bills, am I correct, David?
Yes, the 4,000 was for the weapons, and looks like it might be 4,900 for the weapons, and the other was for the ammunition.
Yeah.
And the ammunition is for training.
Do the employees get any training, David, for those?
Absolutely, yes. No one gets issued a weapon without passing
Training.
the DOJC, the training through the Department of Justice and the jail standards.
It's ongoing training?
It's ongoing training. They do it, we try to get them down there twice a year. Of course, you know, even the sheriff and the Somerset Police Department, they all try to get them down there at least once or twice a year, depending on how busy everybody is. But it's, you know, we make it. They're gonna be down there twice a year.
So what kind of a line item can you put guns and ammunition in under? Is that just,
Equipment.
It's equipment,
that's equipment?
yes, sir.
Do you use them in the jail?
Again, no, you cannot use a weapon inside the jail. You can use it to protect the outside to keep somebody from getting in. You know, we have fights all the time in the jail or outside in the parking lot. We have, you know, people come into, you read it every day where officers are attacked, either going to and
Do you-
from court.
If you have a fight or something, do you take those guns in, or do you take a taser, or?
The weapons do not, the only reason a weapon would be involved inside a facility would be if there was a riot and somebody had lethal weapons or an officer's life was in danger. We have tasers, we have OC spray, we have the shields.
So really, what is the purpose for the guns? I mean,
They're deputy jailers, same as a deputy sheriff or a police officer. They're sworn officers of this county. And they wear a uniform. And in today's society, anybody that wears a uniform needs the right to protect himself as well as somebody else. You know, people in uniform are being attacked every day. They don't care what it says on the uniform. If they're in the uniform, they're gonna attack them.
I just don't feel like that they're the same as a deputy sheriff. I mean, that was my number one complaint with our old sheriff, or jailer, that he packed a gun and tried to be a deputy, and now we got everybody over there trying to be a deputy. You yourself told me you'll never see me packing a gun. I seen
No,
you
I
packing a
didn't
gun.
say that.
Yeah, you did.
I said, you'll never see me pull a car over.
You said you'll never be packing a gun to court. You told me that out of your mouth.
If I said that, then I misspoke.
That you lied, just
No,
like a lot of things.
I misspoke.
let me, do those guys have lockers and stuff over there?
Yes, sir.
Would it not be possible for them just to change in street clothes before they left there of a day? And, I mean, I worked for UPS for over 30 years, and we change clothes every day. And you can buy a uniform, you know, that will protect your men from being attacked as deputy jailer or deputy sheriff or whatever they might would be. Yeah. I mean, my personal opinion, I think it's just, we're looking for a lawsuit. Yeah, just my personal opinion. But, you know, you guys can vote and do whatever you want to on it. But I'm a no.
Under this particular issue, it really doesn't have anything to do with the gun. It has to do with paying the bill that is it was lawfully obtained. The issue that you have is an issue that can be discussed, but the issue of the bill is separate from this issue.
What's
Should've-
next?
Should have been discussed before they was bought then.
What's next?
What's next on what, sir?
On your wish list or
On my-
whatever this is that
This is the
your
bill
line
to be
items.
paid, the bill to be paid. And I mean, it's just according to KRS that it needs to be paid. So our vendors will know that fiscal court's gonna pay their bills whenever we order something.
How many jails in the state of Kentucky do that? Do you have any idea?
I mean, do what, sir?
How many jails in the state of Kentucky issue their employees guns?
It's at least half. I can't give you an exact number, but at least half. Most of them are, when we went to the conference, their deputies came to the conference in full uniform with their gear on.
Yeah. I mean,
Now,
I know.
when we
I
go to
thought-
conferences, we wear street clothes and relax because that's what it's about. Where, you know, we want to go and learn and be educated about what's going on.
Sure.
The others had to go right back to work after training. Our
Yeah,
officers had to
just
travel 3 hours
Going
to
to
get there.
conference is kind of like, if you're saying you're just going to relax, it's just like going home from work. You're just going home to relax. You don't need to be in a uniform.
That's why they didn't wear them. But the other departments had their officers in uniform because they are officers of the law.
Oh, yeah.
I personally, I didn't much like the idea of them having guns and traveling with them because of that same kind of liability, but we have approved the PO. And I guess that's where we messed up to start with. So, since we've made it, I don't want the word out that we're not paying our bills, so I'm gonna move that we pay this bill. And from
bills.
today forward, if we're gonna order guns, I think we as a court needs to know before the PO's signed.
I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah.
You know, I was just following what our protocol. I mean, I don't call you all up every time I need to order something, and none of these other departments call you up every time they need something.
That's
But I can
exactly
see where the guns are important You know, if everybody called you up every time they wanted something, then I could see that you'd want me to do that.
Well,
And I know the guns are an issue because, number one, Pulaski County does have a tendency, and other counties in Kentucky have a tendency to be stuck in time. You know, this is the new time. Back when I made that statement to Mr. Strunk, I probably was real concerned about that, because when I first got sworn in, I didn't think that our officers needed guns because they didn't have the training. We have received hours and hours of training since January the 15th.
all right, one of the guns been used?
Pardon me?
Has any of the guns been used for anything or
For training.
just for training?
You said bills, so I didn't know yours.
Well, we have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Well, and if I may, and I appreciate everyone's philosophical differences, and those have all been set out here, but I would try to bring you back to the legal obligation, and as you all know, I always try to, I try to, that's my job, is to keep you out of trouble, and I would encourage you to approve this purchase from the legal standpoint, outside of your philosophical differences of how, whether you believe firearms should or should not be carried. I think from a legal standpoint, it's a lawful bill, and we can debate whether or not a PO should have been issued, and I think, again, everybody's aired that out as well, and maybe that's a process.
Who issued this PO? You?
Pardon me?
Did you sign this PO?
The judge did.
You
Signed
did?
it, but I think
Yes.
it was after a while of discussion. It was, it's been a while.
One thing about it, if there's an issue with them, Martin, you're the one has to be his backup.
And here's what we,
And I will, and David can also attest to this, there has been, since this issue began, there has been another one come through, another PO that has not been signed, that has not been issued.
And-
Just,
one made the comment that we should know whenever a PO before you sign it, but you gotta consider the amount of POs that we get on a daily basis from all departments.
Oh, yeah.
Good.
And to bring those individually and say, do you wanna approve this PO, it would be very difficult. But I will be more sensitive to this area and make sure that anything comes through.
I know you're not sitting there saying that you didn't realize you were signing a PO for a bunch
No,
of guns.
I signed it, but I think it was a time where we went through several weeks of talking about it.
We
and I-
did.
And I thought
Many.
it was agreed upon, let's go ahead and do it, so.
Can I say something? You know,
Yes, sir.
times have changed. When we started, we only had 160 people in jail, and we had like 20-something federal inmates. When we transfer a federal inmate to London or wherever we have to take them, it's in our contract, and that we have to have 2 armed officers at all times with those federal inmates, per inmate. So if we take 2, we have to send 4. So we only had 6 guns when we took over, and one of them wasn't working. And as anybody knows, that guns do malfunction, so you have to have a backup. And if we have 2 to 4 officers transferring federal prisoners, and we have another officer going to the hospital with another inmate, and we take them there every day, because you know we have overdoses every day, and we have to go to, and so we're taking somebody to the hospital. We got pregnant women, and our officers have to go there because they set things up. That's how they set these things
Did I
up.
hear you right, you just got 6 guns, is that?
That's all we had.
Oh, that's
When
all
we
you
took
had,
over,
okay.
and it just wasn't feasible to
And
do
we all
that.
understand that you need to carry a gun when you're transporting a prisoner. I
Okay.
mean, y'all know that.
Well, we can't do that if we don't
Your
have it.
deputies don't need to be going to church wearing a gun. And I go to church with a couple of them, and they wear their gun to church. And I don't think they need to be wearing a gun everywhere they go.
Are
That's a
they in
county-issued
uniform?
gun.
Are they in uniform?
No.
Okay, in my church, there's police officers sitting all over the place, there's deputies sitting all over the place that got their guns on. A lot of people want
That's
their
true.
guns
There's
in
a
their
lot of
church
people
because
packing
preachers
guns.
have been attacked too, and your family's in that church, and I'm sure you'd want your family protected if
And
something
there's
happened.
a lot of
in there.
people in their church packing guns, but they're concealed. I mean, they got their concealed carry, and they're not trying to make the law. I mean, Greg is the law, not your deputies. That's my opinion. I mean, Greg's our law
Well, as
enforcement.
I said, we
not
are stuck
Deputy
in the
Jones.
past in a lot of our thinking, so I understand that.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Question.
All in favor?
Roll call vote, please.
Wilson,
Yes.
Turpin,
Yes.
Weldon,
Yes.
Maxey,
No.
Strunk.
No.
Motion carries.
I will make sure if any more
Thank you,
POs
gentlemen.
for guns comes through here, please let me know.
I will. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Corner with us today, I didn't see Clyde with us today. Anything from Linda's office today, have anything? Public safety, Stacy, you have? Road department, Jordan?
Only thing I have today, Judge, is approval of your road work.
I got a speed limit on there.
I think there's a couple.
I think Maxie's got some too.
Yeah, I see one here on the second, but it don't say how much it is. Just says speed limit.
That's Loveless Road, 25 mile an hour. 25 mile an hour.
So we have a motion then to set the speed limit 25 for Loveless Road. Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
Yeah, I've got a couple too, one on Turner Road and Atkins Arthur Road, 25 mile an hour.
Turner Road,
They may just be replacements, are they, or do you know?
I'm not sure on those.
Let's do them anyway, just to make
we
sure.
have do we need a motion then for Turner Road, for 25 mile an hour?
Beer and Turner, is that what it is?
Got a,
Beer and Turner.
Beer and Turner, we got a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries, and the other one, Glenn, was,
Is that east?
Fast Atkins.
East
Is that
Atkins.
East
Atkins?
Atkins, Arthur?
East
Yes,
Atkins.
yes.
Fast.
We have a motion for East Atkins, Arthur to be 25.
Motion.
Second.
A motion, a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
We're really not this dumb, it's just cut off a little bit along the edge.
Mine isn't. That's why I couldn't figure out what y'all were doing.
Ours is cut off.
Okay. All right, then we need a motion to approve the remainder of the road work. We have a motion.
Second.
A second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Jordan. 911 call center. You have something for us?
We currently have an employee by the name of Joshua Hawk. He's working part-time right now, but we would like to ask the court's permission to promote him to full-time dispatcher.
Do you have a
You have a position available?
position open?
We have 2 full-time positions.
Motion.
Second.
We have a motion, a second, to promote Joshua Hawk to
Joshua
full-time.
Hawk.
Any further discussion?
And he does need to give a 2-week notice. He has a full-time job
Okay.
and working part-time for us, so the actual start date,
Can we just put as soon as
yes.
possible?
Okay, all in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Yeah, thank you. Solid waste, Danny?
Oh, come on, Danny, you wanna hire somebody?
Then our animal shelter, I don't see Adam here today.
No, he had a
Okay,
funeral.
we got, tourism, Carolyn's with us today. You have something you wanna?
I'll only take about 40 minutes.
Let me get my gun out.
Mine too, baby.
Just kidding. I'm here to tell you about economic impact of tourism, let you know. I know, Steve, you've heard it many times already, and it's been in the newspaper, but I wanted to bring it to the court. Let you know what happened with 2016 tourism economic impact from, for our office and for all of Pulaski County. The direct spending total was $84.16 million. The total tourism spending for our county in 2016 was $132.3 million. That is telling you that on the direct, you go to a lodging facility or a restaurant, you pay for your services, whether you're staying overnight or you're eating a meal. And the difference in that and the total tourist spending is the fact that that lodging facility or that restaurant had to buy the food, they had to have the beds, they had to have their employees. So that is what happened as far as spending. Worker income was 29.67 million in our county. Local tax revenues, 1.78 million. State tax revenues, $12 million, and it supported 2,135 jobs. All of that was up. Tourism spending was up 5.5% over the previous year of 2015. And I will tell you that for every dollar that we spend marketing for our state and our community brings back $16 in local and state revenue. And there's not a lot of things that carries that message that is that great. On an average day in our county, visitors spent $230,583. They generated $37,949 in state and local tax revenue, $4,882 in local tax revenue, $33,000 in state tax revenue, and generated $81,298 in worker paychecks. In our county, tourism is the same. When they save each of our households' tax dollars, it's the same as writing every household a check for $541. These are not my numbers, and I have you all copies of these. These come from the state. They have a firm that does all of their surveying, and the surveys that they do, they send them out to restaurants and marinas and lodging facilities and everybody else that is under that umbrella of tourism, and it is the information that those businesses give back to Surtech so that they can put these together. So for our region, which is a 10-county region, and we have been known quite some time in the state as the poorest region in the state, but this past 2016, our region grew the most of any region in the state. They grew at 7.9%, with Northern Kentucky growing at 7.3%. Of course, Pulaski County being the largest county in that region, and so our transient tax spending at $132.3 million was more than twice of any other county in the region. The next closest was Taylor County at about 64, and Russell County at about 57 million. So tourism is good, tourism works, and I've got you some information here. There is a second page there. You know, the legislature is thinking that they are going to have a special session. They're telling us that everything is on the table, and that means that they may want to grab tourism dollars like they did before when they took $9 million out of tourism's coffers. And we plead with you to please talk to your legislators and make sure that they do not take the tourism marketing dollars and use it somewhere else.
Is the lake getting better?
Please.
Is the lake getting better?
Well, the lake, you know, I wish Miranda Combs had done a more in-depth survey of what she was
Well, she
covering.
called Mike and I, and we talked to her about it, and we
And
kind
you
of,
didn't make the news.
well, we kind of explained to her that all that trash is not just, and the same thing that Steve does, it's not just our trash, it's
Yeah.
everybody's trash.
It comes in, you know, anytime we have the heavy rains that we have, it comes in over Cumberland Falls, and a lot of times just swirls in the Waitsboro area and then filters out. I had some calls yesterday from people that were on the lake, and they said that they put in at General Burnside Island, and went over to Conley Bottom for dinner or lunch, and said that the lake was terrible in a lot of those places, all the way up to where the Mount Fishing Creek goes off. So it's one of those things that happens when we have heavy spring rains here, but we still have the most beautiful lake of anywhere around. And I said to the gentleman yesterday, he said it's hurting tourism. And I said, the lake, if you were out on the lake, you have to have known that this weekend the lake was very busy. And he said, yes, there was a lot of boats. So,
So they're still coming anyway.
they are still coming.
Good.
They're coming in droves, and they're going to continue to come. He brought up Norris Lake. They do not take the tourism marketing dollars and use it somewhere else when they put it. And you didn't make the news.
Well,
Well, the lake, you know, I was, I wish Miranda Combs had done a more in-depth survey. said, there's a billboard over at maybe Berea that talks about Norris Lake, only a mile on, down the road. And I said, it's no comparison. It is no comparison. Why drive another mile and pass, or another, hour and pass up our lake? So, it's, you know, we feel good. Boat travel shows were good. We, send out brochures every day. Yesterday, from the Kentucky Official Visitors Guide, we got 80 requests for our brochures in one day.
Yeah, right.
So that's, you know, that's amazing, and we send those out on a daily basis, so. Anyway,
Just to add a couple points to that,
And
I just want to add a couple points to that thing. You mentioned the heavy rains. We had flash floods, and I think some areas reported 7 and 8 inches of rain in a 3-day period, and that's going to flush everything out that's up there. Now, that doesn't make us turn our heads away from the problem that we do have certain areas where there's a lack of pride in people, and they do dump their trash, they do throw it out, and anytime there is a dump and rains like that come, you're going to see that exposed. So my plea would be people to just grow up and be responsible and take care of your trash and quit being lazy and irresponsible. But that's the underlying problem is that people, a certain small percentage do that, and it hurts the whole. But we see it when we get those heavy rains. But I will also say that the pictures they showed are not representative of our lake. It's almost like everybody at their house has a junk closet where they just pile things in and then shut the door. Well, that's where she went to. She went and opened up the junk closet and showed people what was out there. It's not representative of Lake Cumberland. We've got a beautiful lake, and like I said, people were enjoying it this weekend. Even down at the park, it was full and packed, and people were enjoying that area. It's beautiful. We're proud of Lake Cumberland, and what they showed was not representative. However, it's a reality that we have to deal with.
we're proud of our whole county, and Lake Cumberland being the focal point and what initially brings all the people here. But, it is true that those pictures they showed were not our lake. Those were very, very sought out places.
But Carolyn, something I get asked all the time, like that, the machine they have on Waitsboro, like that's part of our road department.
I know it.
I mean,
I do too.
I'm like, well, I can't go get it going.
Yeah.
Is
And I
there a
know
route?
I talked to Judy Dalton from before, and she said right now it does have a problem, that they've got parts ordered, and in the meantime, they are doing some pulling logs up onto it so that when it is back up and running. I guess the thing that concerns me there is that when they chip it back into the lake.
Sure.
And then I hear a lot of people complain about it being sucked up into the
Props.
boats and jet skis and things like that. But it does clean up. It does clean up some of those logs. It does. It does not pick up trash. But I can drive into Somerset and I see that people from the jail have been out picking up trash, and the roadways, the Cumberland Parkway looks amazing. And the exit ramp off at 78, where I turn to go home, looks amazing. And the next day, it is so littered that I want a camera put up there, because I want to catch all those people that are going through a drive on their way home and pitching it out the window when they're finished. Because it is an unending.
How did they do that with you? Oh, yeah.
Thank you for your positive report. All right, that brings us into our treasurer. Joan, do you have anything for us today?
I do, and I can also add to what Ms. Carolyn was talking about on tourism. Of course, I'm sure that on your bill list, you saw a lot of refunds for Pulaski Park. And of course, that was because of the prediction of rain. Well, even with the rain, we had the best holiday weekend that in receipts and everything at the park that I have seen in my many years. So I was very pleased, and that goes to show what we are doing with our park and what you as magistrates have allowed us to do with our park. And
I'd like to thank David back there for the use of the inmates down there.
yes,
they
yes,
really help us
we
a
couldn't
lot.
do without them. So, okay, now, on another note, like I said, bill list, we do have the monthly bill list. And we will probably, due to the fact that this is the end of our fiscal year, we will probably have another small bill list on our next court meeting. But this is the first one, the biggie.
Y'all received your bill list. Do you have any questions or entertain a motion?
Motion.
Motion, do we have a second? Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. And all you have today?
Oh, no,
Is that it?
that's not it.
Okay.
I also have the monthly bank reconciliation for the month of May.
Got a copy of your bank reconciliation? What will be your pleasure?
Motion.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Okay. Motion carries.
And the last item I have for consideration are some fund transfers, and these are housekeeping to get our, everything hunky-dory.
Motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for fund transfers. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
That's all I have. As always, thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, gentlemen. All right, next item is citizens' comments, and we don't have anyone who's requested to address the court today, so with that, we'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
Steve,
No?
I think you need to set up a bid committee, don't you, to look at the bids?
Yeah, we plan on doing it this week. I don't know,
Need to probably pick some then.
It don't matter to me, whoever wants to be on it. 3.
which three would want to be on a big committee.
Can have 3.
Have 3.
You can have 3.
I can't be here.
Him voting, so you can have 3, that wouldn't be a quorum.
Can't be here.
Yep.
I can do it. Be glad to do it, as a matter of fact.
I would just,
Who is it?
I can't, I don't care.
I can too. It don't
you two can do it. Yeah, that'd be fine if y'all would be willing to do that.
matter. Jason, you don't want to be on it? You don't?
No, y'all can do it, that's
Well, you-
fine, either way.
you
He
can take my
don't
place,
usually
'cause
pick
I'm-
me, so I just,
Well, I'm trying to be
I'll,
cautious with Jason because he
I'll stay out,
has
let-
family that's
No,
turned into
I'll
bill.
stay out and you go, because I may have to go to Florida here. I've got an
no.
emergency that I may have to leave.
I'm just trying to keep him from being in a precarious situation with family being one of the bidders. So if you three could do it, it would be sufficient.
fine with me, I don't care.
Do it too, unless I get called out, you know.
Okay.
My daughter's,
You three and I'll
father-in-law
let,
on her mother's side passed
if we can get Dan and Joan and Leslie to sit in, then you all can meet this week.
This week,
Or,
Next week,
next week.
Joan them's leaving today, right?
okay,
Yeah, and just as long, if Monday or Tuesday, because I'm like Glenn, I have to go to Florida, and my brother's terminally ill, and
For that. Yeah, Tuesday, next Tuesday.
all right. That's it. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Okay.
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?